unto us, and for the gift of life that you have bestowed upon us this evening. It is not by might, not by power, but by your spirit. We thank you that, oh, you, Lord Jesus, you take over tonight's meeting. Make it count, and at the end, we will give glory to your name. In Jesus' mighty name, I pray thanksgiving. Amen.
Okay, amen.
Amen. Okay, so for those of you on the platforms and you are sharing the links and you share the links, please remind them. You're all very much welcome to tonight's, can I say, teaching or orientation or eye opener. Tonight we are here to hear from the experts, those who are really in governance, those whose work revolve around the day-to-day planning and decision taking or decision making for this country, Ghana. I see a lot of members from the different countries. You are very much welcome. And for what you are going to hear, you will hear from the leaders talking more about Ghana, how we make decisions, how the rule of law and everything. And people are going to share how they work in their offices and how all these comes together for us to have one government. Okay, so if you are here as a country head, because I see the country head for Sierra Leone, I see the country head for Liberia, I see the country head for Nigeria, I see for US. Say International Youth Network for the United Nations Security Council, Resolution 2250. And this initiative was championed or spearheaded by the youth government system. We have a lot of openings, and the leadership decided to do an open call. And through the open call, as people call trying to apply, they kept asking, so what does it entail? So what are we supposed to do? And as much as we talk to them from what we have studied or what we know, we realize that it's important that we hear from the bosses or the experts. So tonight we are here. Our special guest of honor is Ms. Kate Addo, who is the coordinator for parliamentary affairs and public affairs at the Parliament House of Ghana. We have one honorable Alexander Ejari, who is a member of parliament. He represents Quebec constituency. He's an MP. For those of you who are aspiring to be MPs, he's going to share with you what it takes to be an MP, you know, and their day-to-day lifestyle. And with this, Madam Kate will be able to highlight more because he handles them. He's not Yeah, sorry, I don't know what happened to my line. So without wasting my time, this is going to be very brief but very um intensive. So without wasting my time, I see a few of our board members here. You're all very much welcome. I'll try and as the speakers go ahead, I'll try and take notes and then of those that I have to acknowledge. But everybody here is important and you're all very much welcome. And thank you and sorry for keeping you waiting. Is Jones here? Jones Amegache. Yeah, Jones, anytime I go off, yeah, Jones Amegache is my special aide. He's my PA, but he likes to be addressed as my special aide. He's also the Right Honorable Speaker for our Youth Parliament. And he also the acting administrator for our network for Ghana. So Jones, anytime I go off, just in case, just come in for me. So we are going to, yeah, we are going to start. I'm trying to see if we have Madam Kate, who give us the keynote um, address, and then well, the others will all pick around what he does because from where he sits, from where she sits, she kind of covers all. Tonight is all about her. She's going to talk to us or educate us, enlighten us about Parliament, decision making, rule of law, anything, and the structure and everything that goes on there. So, with a round of applause, I want all of you to just give her a shout out on the screen. Let's welcome Ms. Kate Addo. I hope this is being recorded to give us the keynote address. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Her Excellency Lilian Sally Addo. And thank you for the opportunity to interact with your group this evening. I'm very excited for the opportunity, and I hope that I'll get more of such opportunities to work with your group as you go along. So basically, I'm sure we all know the structure of Ghana's parliament, but let me just take a quick sweep at the structure now and how young people fit into it. So as you all know, the parliament, which is the legislature, is an arm of government, and the main duty of parliament is to make laws. But more importantly, parliament exists to represent the people that make up the various constituencies. And that's where we come in. Representation in any circumstance means that people have given their authority to a group of people, and these authorities must be exercised in such a way that one, it represents the people whose authority is being exercised, and two, that the interest of everybody is being sought. In 1992, after a referendum, Ghana returned to a constitutional rule. And after that, after the third Republican Parliament, the third Parliament of the Fourth Republic, it became obvious that there was a growing population that was interested in parliamentary procedures, but which didn't have a voice. And that's when Parliament in 2004 set up the first student parliament or the first youth parliament at the University of Ghana. Subsequent to that, the youth parliament was replicated in universities like Cape Coast, like KNUST, Winneba, and today we have many of such youth parliaments in the tertiary institutions. And even more important is the fact that out of these have grown a very important group, and Jones is part of that dynamic, who are doing amazing work in furthering not only legislative democracy and making people understand it, but also ensuring that, you know, the young people are in the policy cycle. And your group, which is the UN group, is really special because, again, Jones, in about, I think a few months ago, I was part of a group that worked to introduce or to inaugurate an international parliaments, international youth parliament that included the Pan-African Parliament, Kenya, Nigeria, and all those people. And what it seeks to do is to bring young people together in a space where they can exercise their democratic rights. Now, how do young people exercise their democratic rights, especially if they are not selected members of parliament, or in a formal structure like the ones we see in the general assemblies in some countries and in the parliaments of some countries like Ghana. How we can be relevant is one, if we all come together as you are doing and forge ahead together with policies that will impact on your national parliament. How can you do that? First of all, you can start by mimicking the national parliament. How you mimic your national parliament is that, first of all, you must have what they call the rules of procedure, which is standing orders in some countries, and which is also referred to as the rules of procedure in some countries. And usually the standing orders are derived from the constitution of the nations. So for instance, if the South Africa here, or I mean the country heads, what you do is that you take your country constitution and then draw out programs or provisions that seek to, first of all, not contradict the provisions of the national constitution, but also is independent enough of that constitution to guide your processes and procedures. Once you're able, and then also you must have regular meetings. And like what we've done in Ghana, with the young parliaments or with the youth parliaments, in mimicking the national parliaments, you have the speaker and then the deputies and all the things that you see in the national parliament. So we can also mimic that in our various groups. And once we've done that, we decide how many times we are sitting, how many meetings we are having in a year. So for instance, the national parliament has 3 meetings in a year. You can decide that you'll also have 3 meetings, in which case you also have 3 recess periods. And then after that, when you formulated policies, so for instance, if you decide to talk about, let's say, um, employment for young people, and you've had discussions and you've come out with policies, these policies must reflect on the national policy. And how we can reflect on the national policy is that if we find space in the national parliament, then that will work. So like that, at the youth parliament, we now take it to the national parliament. So if you're in a country like Ghana, what you can do, and the good thing is that now Ghana, we support the private members bill. And the private members bill is supported in most countries in the West. And I know that some countries in Africa also do support the private members bill. But even if you don't get to go onto the private members bill, you can always come into use tools like constitutional instruments, legislative instruments, and sometimes if you catch the executive president or even executive instruments to find expression at the national level. And when that happens, it helps. So, for instance, and I think that for people in sub-Saharan Africa, the main issues are employment issues, are health issues, are sexual issues, and just general human rights issues. And so it's important that we work around those things and ensure that we first of all have policies that are geared towards helping to empower the young people and ensuring that their voices are heard in the appropriate spaces. It is not enough to have these meetings. Because we can have all these meetings and have all these beautiful thoughts. But if we do not find expression in the national parliament or in the policy cycle, then all the work that we do will end at our level. And that's where people like the members of parliament who are on this platform, people like us come into play. What are the policies that we're formulating? First of all, at the formulation stage, it's important to include the people who know how these things are done. And that's where we are available for that purpose. So once we are able, I think there are discussions in the line. Someone has opened their, yeah. Once we are able to, once we are able to sit down and articulate our concerns, and don't forget that most populations are relatively young. And so the policies that national parliaments formulate, the laws that national parliaments make, really are laws that should cater to the demographic that is in the younger bracket, people aged between probably 16 and 40. And so it's imperative that attention is paid to that group. So please, I will encourage all of us to work hard, not just to organize meetings and to sit and talk. It's important to sit and talk, but once we've sat and had all the conversations about how we want to see our democracies evolve, it's important that we put these on paper. And that's what I want to stress on today, that once we've finished our work, it's important that we put it on paper and ensure that these find expression at the national parliament. How do we do that? We find a member of parliament who can parent our concerns and ensure that they are either making a statement on the floor of the various parliaments, or they are introducing private members' bills, which will then be, go through the processes and become actual laws that will govern our country. And in a place like Ghana, we have what we call the Young Parliamentarians Forum, which is made up of young members of parliament aged between 23 to probably 30 something. And these are young people who understand people like your demography, I would assume, since we're talking about young parliamentarians. And they are in parliament, and their aim is to bridge the gap between parliament and the people who are in the youth bracket. So it's important that we take advantage of these avenues and ensure that we are, in the space that we need to be. The other thing too that I need to talk about is that in the lawmaking process itself, a bill is introduced to Parliament. It is referred by Mr. Speaker to a committee. The committee invites memoranda from the general public, and anybody and everybody can contribute to the law. So it doesn't matter what law is being made. Once the law is referred to a committee, and the committee invites memoranda, and that should fill. Quickly, you look at the explanatory memorandum that is in the bill. You look at the gaps. You look at where policies can be changed. You look at the provisions that will suit you. You look at the provisions that are not so good for you, and then you make your contributions. Unfortunately, what's happening is that when the invitations for the memoranda is put out, we don't have any young person asking for anything. And so people who do the bills habitually are the same people who would assume that, okay, if it's about employment, then it is assumed that once somebody finishes university, they must look for formal employment. But that's probably not the case. Probably people are looking for avenues for entrepreneurship. Probably people are looking for avenues for PPPs. And so it's important that you make your voice heard. And I'm very excited that I've got the opportunity to speak to you on this forum, because I think that you're working very hard. But I don't think that we have succeeded in making the national parliaments as aware of us as they should be. And when I spoke on an international platform not so long ago, I told the South Africans, for instance, that you have the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association there, you have the Pan-African Parliamentary Association, you have the ECOWAS Parliamentary Association, you have the International Parliamentary Union, which is the larger group, and you have all these groups there. And it is important that they are inundated with issues that concern the youth, issues that will make the youth more vibrant, and so that tomorrow, when the 55s and the 60-year-olds are no longer available, you'll be able to take up the mantle and not have to reinvent any wheel. And so I would like to pause here, and hopefully I will have to, if I get the opportunity to answer questions or concerns from you on any particular subject that you like me to illuminate on, I'll be very happy to do that. But what I want to leave you with is that if there is any country that doesn't have a standing order yet, I would suggest that you draft one very quickly. If you don't have a youth very quickly, and also as often as possible, engage with people who know how to who can translate your activities from one point to the other, to ensure that whatever we are doing at the youth level doesn't end at the youth level or become a shopping list that doesn't really see the light of day. And we can take advantage of things like the private members bill. We can take advantage of things like motions on the floor of the house, like statements on the floor of the house, like petitions to the speakers of the various parliaments, and generally ensuring that at committee levels you are participating. And for those of you in Ghana, I would suggest that depending on what your interest is, you have to engage the subject matter committees, and as much as possible, forge the way forward. And I pledge my assistance to this project. And anytime that you call me with such a project, I'll be very happy to either help you draft whatever document you want to draft or validate it. And once we've done that, I'll also help to ferry the documentation to the appropriate parliamentary quarters in Ghana, at ECOWAS, or at the Pan-African Parliament or the CPA, and see how it goes. So I'll pause here and hope for questions and comments from you.
Wow, thank you very much. We have Honorable Alexander Ijari. Before, I don't know if it's still out in Honorable Alexander Ijari, MP for Kede constituency. Okay. Otherwise, we have Honorable C. Norte. He just called me that he was on. Honorable C. Norte from Ayawaso West Assembly, East Legon. Okay, I'll get back to them again. So now the floor is open. The floor is open. If you have a question, please, I see a couple of hands. Can I have Right Honorable Speaker Jones, can you please coordinate this? Jones, are you here? Yeah, coordinates. A lot of people have their hands up, so you can call them. And then I had calls from the two honorables. Let me check on them. And then as the questions are going, we can get them to speak. So coordinate those who have questions for Madam Kate. Thank you very much, Madam Kate. And we are really excited about all that you said. And we're looking forward to working with you permanently and learning a lot. Even today, I've learned 2 things. Thank you very much.
It would be my absolute pleasure to help.
Thank you. So, Jones, please have the floor. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. And thank our resource person for the insight. I want to find out, in the case of Ghana, our systems are too politicized. So how do we merge this all-important group to the fact that most of the things we do, or our politicians always look at who leads the group and which party does he or she belong to? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Honorable Jones. Thank you so much, Madam Kate, for this insight. My question is actually a follow-up to what Stephen asked earlier. One thing I have realized that when it comes to parliamentarian affairs, I've had a chance to work with an MP before, and I realized that most of the initiatives they take, like Stephen already stated, is usually politicized. So once they are not in power or they are not in governance, executing such projects becomes difficult. On this basis, I'd like to ask, is the youth parliament also politically driven, or it's a non-political platform that everybody gets to participate as a when necessary? Thank you.
Please, I heard that we have other associations like the Pan African Youth Parliament, something and things. If you can please throw more light about it, because I have no knowledge about that, and the ECOWAS too as well.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. So, Halimatu, I didn't say that we have Pan-African Youth Parliament. What I said was that in the Africa region, there are parliaments, like parliamentary organizations like the Pan-African Parliament. There is the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. There is the ECOWAS Parliament. There is the African Parliamentary Network for Against Corruption. There are so many groups. Now, these groups exist to help people like you. And so when the youth groups have done their work, you can actually find space in these spaces where international members of parliament meet to deliberate on issues that affect our sub-region. And as you can imagine, one of the main problems or one of the main focuses of the issues that members of parliament talk about are things that affect young people. And so what you should do is that once you've sat down and deliberated on issues, one of the ways that you can make your voices heard, whether locally or internationally, is to use any of these groups. And in these groups as well, there are young people like you there. And so it's easy to channel your concerns to those groups. I think Farouk should mute his microphone. And Tyron, you know, I think that's important that these groups, you channel your activities to these groups and they will help you. Now, that leads me to the next question of whether the youth parliamentarians should be politicized. And the answer is a very big no. Because once you associate with a particular political group, then what happens is that if that party or that political group is not in power, then your programs will suffer. And that's why, for us in the national parliament, all the youth programs that we oversee are non political. The moment you put a political color on your youth activity, you will be limiting yourself. And so when you look at somebody like Jones's group, the Youth Impact Parliament, they are a non-political group. So it doesn't matter whether Party A is in government or Party B is in government. When they do their activities, the Parliament of Ghana is there to assist. And not so long ago, I think about 2 weeks ago, I saw a flyer of them doing a program. And I have been on their platform so many times. And so it's important that as much as possible, you remain apolitical. Because the moment you put a political color on your youth group, you are limiting yourself. It doesn't matter that you shouldn't have. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't have political ideologies, because we all do have our political ideologies. But these ideologies should not interfere with the work that you are doing. And so, as much as possible, sorry, Try to be as neutral as possible. It's important that you're as neutral as possible so you can have, and in any case, even at the national parliament, there are various shades of opinion. You have people who are in DC, you have people who are in PP, but they all stay in the same parliament. And so if you must, please represent all the various shades of opinions and make sure that as much as possible, if it is to the left or to the right, you still have somebody parenting your bill. And that takes me to the question that the Right Honorable Speaker asked about the fact that they brought a bill to, they brought a policy document proposal, and they are not able to see the light of day. Parliament is a very bureaucratic system, and statements and motions are usually tabled. And so when you bring a document to Parliament, whether you're a member of Parliament or whether you are, an interest group or something, it will have to go through the process for it to, see the light of day, for Mr. Speaker to say that, okay, I have directed that this document be given to this person or to that person. Two things happen when you bring a document. The speaker will study the document and then decide that this group can handle it. So it's probably a committee, it's probably leadership, it's probably the bureaucracy that is handling it. And it's good that you spoke to one of my directors, Efia, and I don't know, I forgot the assurance that she gave you. But let me give you an inside trick that next time you can apply. As a speaker yourself, you know that members must catch your eye. And so
Okay, so whilst we are waiting for her to come, do we have Honorable C. Note? We had honorable members on for some time. I don't know if maybe we kept them waiting too long. Honorable C. Note. Okay, so whilst we are waiting for her to come, I want to touch base on the question that somebody asked whether we are politicized. No. The youth government system that we are running is under the International Youth Network for the United Nations Security Council Resolution 2250. Let me take advantage and give you a short briefing. Before we go on, do we have any of the board members for the network, Ghana chapter? I saw GCOP, a board member for Ghana. I'm trying to catch, I get messages on WhatsApp that they are on, but when I come out, I don't see you. Maybe the names are different. So every board member for the International Youth Network Ghana, if you're on, I say that you are welcome. You are very much welcome. And then for all the members of we have an organization called KUNAGOS, the coalition of all the UN organizations in Ghana. I see some of our members, the International Youth Network. We are officially a member of this group that represents all the associations that push the UN agenda. I see some of our leaders here. You're also very much welcome. I appreciate you joining the youth today. And I see some members of our Christian missions units, the Islamic missions. I see most of our chaplains here. You all contribute towards the unity we are calling for in decision making. And for those of you who just joined, you have joined the initiative. This initiative was spearheaded by our youth government system. That is our main phase for pushing the UN Security Council Resolution 2250. So somebody will ask, what is the UN Security Council Resolution 2250 and why are we all even here doing youth government system? So the Security Council in 2015 adopted a resolution that says that young people must be encouraged to join to be part of the decision-making table. And I always tell people, we are not only supposed to get young people on the decision-making table, they must be on the table and have a voice. And that voice must be positive. And we network is pushing this agenda that was adopted by the Security Council in 2015. Now, in decision making in Ghana, now we are focusing on Ghana. Unfortunately, as we have a lot of people from other countries on the platform, in decision making in this country, we all know that it takes a lot. And different sectors, different officers, they are even the traditional stuff. Next time, I'm going to really have a talk with our traditional rulers, how they also operate in the traditional courts. You're going to have somebody from Malaysia and all the government and all these courts that are traditionally ruled. I want to break here and also welcome our country head, our head body, led by Dr. Hadji Oko, the first deputy country head. I see you. I see Vera, the second deputy country head. I see Farouk, who is the fourth deputy country head. Motola, the third deputy, all the head body. I see all of you here. I'm very proud of all of you for making time to be here. And I see two of our directors for the Ghana chapter is our parliament. And for those of you who have joined, I want to use this opportunity to tell you we have a lot of openings in modeling, in getting the youth to be on the decision-making table and having a positive voice. We have created the youth government system. And the youth government system is to model what we have, all that Madam Kate spoke about, all of it. So for those who go to parliament, that are the MPs, for those in the offices, the ministers, for the assembly, those in the assembly, the municipals, the assemblymen, from the top to the bottom, the youth president, youth vice president. I see some of our justices members here. You are welcome. I see some of them told me that they are on the platform. I'm so excited that you are here. So all that you are hearing today from all these experts goes on when it comes to governance as Ghana. We are modeling the same thing. And the reason why we are doing this is to train, and that we see the assemblyman in every community. We used to call them community reps. It's the same thing. Now we are going to call them a youth assemblyman. So once you apply to join and you want to be a minister for agri, you don't get it, you'll be pushed somewhere else. If somebody told me, Madam, I want to be the minister for agri. Let's say somebody else takes that slot, or we have that position already. We are going to have the 17 SDGs. We push the SDGs. No youth is going to be left behind. We'll push you to do climate change. Climate change represents SDG 13. I hope I'm right anyway. SDG 13 is climate change. It talks about it's part of planting and all that. So once you come in, we are not going to leave you to go away. There's room for everybody. Apart from the youth government system, we also have different committee groups, because we want to be able to bring everybody together so that we can learn about how to make positive decision making. So that as you grow up and you want to be in politics, at least you will know that if you find yourself in any party, your mindset will be very independent, and you will know that every decision you take or every step you take must be geared towards peace. I have some noise on my background, so I'll pause here so that you ask questions. I don't know whether Honorable Steve Norte is here. Honorable Steve Norte, please, are you here? Or Alexander Ijari, Honorable? Okay, is Osajifo, please, are you here? I would like to call one or two people. Okay, so I'm going to call Osajifo. You've been in youth parliament and youth governance for a very long time. I would like you to share with us your experiences and how effective do you think a youth parliament can effectively run in terms of taking aside all the older folks and young people coming together to push a government? Share your experience with us, and then you can touch and advise on that. And then I might have one or two people that's on the background. I'm trying to call. My background is very noisy, but I hope you could hear me.
Yes, please. I can hear you.
Okay, so go ahead.
All right. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. But once again, my name is Osaje Fo. I am the Ghana Youth President for the International Youth Network. Well, youth governance is an important
I'm
aspect of
sorry to
national.
interrupt, but this is Kate. I am using this phone because mine is not working. So once I'm needed, I'll be available on this phone.
Yeah, sure. Let's continue. Yeah, sure. Sure. Sure.
Osajifo, I apologize. I apologize for barging in, but I don't understand why my phone is not working. I don't know when this is going to go off. So I thought I'd quickly come in and help before it goes off. So I was just saying, I don't know whether, I don't know at what point you lost me, but I was saying that there are avenues of there are various tools that parliaments, not just in Ghana, but the world uses to ensure that people's voices are heard. And one of them is the fact that at all material times, the Right Honorable Speaker's eye must be caught, or the presiding member's eye must be caught. And this is best done on the floor of the House. So to answer Jones's question of, them bringing policies and the policy, taking a while to catch Mr. Speaker's eye, one of the ways is to use the members of parliament. And the good thing is that in Ghana's parliament, for instance, we have the Young Parliamentarians Forum, whose main duty is to ensure that voices like yours are heard at the national level. And so, if I were you, when I send a document to the Right Honourable Speaker, I'll also make a statement of it and get a member of parliament to read the statement on the floor of the House. Once that is done, you bring two birds with one stone. You would have caught the speaker's attention. You would have also been able to get the matter into the public domain, and that always helps. And so I'll suggest that you do that. I don't know whether you heard me when I spoke about the fact that you should not politicize the youth parliament, because the moment you politicize the youth parliament, what happens is that you lose out. So it's important that at all times, if you must, if you must represent political opinions, make sure that you are representing the various shades, so that one group of people won't feel that this is an NDC youth parliament or an MPP youth parliament, but rather this is a national youth parliament that is seeking the welfare of the young people. Because at the end of the day, that's what you are seeking to do. And to answer the lady's question, I said that the organizations like the Pan African Parliament, the ECOWAS Parliament, exist to help national parliaments. And so once you've finished your work, there are avenues that you can use. And it's important that if you are in this space, you should know the various parliamentary associations there are in your sub-region and how you can take advantage of those to ensure that your policies see the light of day.
Hello. Thank you. Yes, my name is Kweku Amega. I want to understand from Madam. She earlier mentioned that the youth are to represent in decision making, decision formulation, in order to get the right inclusiveness as far as the country's policies are concerned. In fact, unfortunately, in Ghana, we are very far behind of, if you are a youth and then you want to make a passionate approach to things like this, you are being kicked against because of party A or party B. Just as my other comrades have earlier mentioned, is there any policy ahead that the association is trying to bring along so that we don't fall a victim of this going forward, so that we will be more inclusiveness, the more inclusiveness of the youth as far as the association is being organized? Thank you.
Well, please, thank you, Speaker. My name is Badu Inokweku. Please, my question is it's not a question. It's just a contribution to the message that Madam Kate just delivered to us. We all know we are all the youth of our nations, and we represent wherever we go, we represent the youth across the global or across our country. So what are the things we are the youth we are putting on ourselves to support our country? First of all, this is the first question we the youth we are supposed to ask ourselves. What are the impact we want to make, or the progress that we want to make to support our noble adult or our noble age members? So please, adding this to, we should know much about who we are and what we are passionate of, so that we can get support from various offices or various partisans or other international support, so that they can help us improve, establish the knowledge that we the youth we have. Because most of the youth has limited themselves. Most of the youth has limited themselves because they fear. They know they don't know anyone in any of the offices. So their initiatives will be kept in their rooms. So please, I think with the youth, we should change our perceptions and also how we think. We should adopt different cultures which will help us improve our knowledge and also improve our vision to solve global issues and also country issues. Thank you, please.
Okay, thank you, John. Sorry, thank you very much. Let me come in briefly. Wait, I have Honorable Sinote. He was on at 6 o'clock. But I don't know, I mentioned his name. I don't hear him. He will call me back. It's an event. Let me allow him to just speak for a few minutes, and then we take more questions. But Madam Kate is nice. Honorable Sinote has been here from 6. Let's give him a few minutes. Honorable Sinote, can you hear me now? I don't know what's wrong with his phone. Honorable.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh,
Can you
finally.
hear me now? Can you hear me
Yeah.
now? Okay.
Yes, I can hear you. Please, you
Okay.
have the floor.
Okay. Thank you very much. Next time, I would advise to start from assembly concept before coming to parliamentarian, because we start from somewhere before reaching somewhere.
Please,
Assembly
that's the
concept.
agenda, but still, I couldn't hear you on the platform. Even Honorable MP2 called me and said he's on. But when I call him, he doesn't respond. I don't hear him. Then he'll call me on my phone. So we
Yeah.
wanted to start from the assembly and then the MP before Madam K. Well, he's the keynote. But I couldn't get you on the line. I
Okay.
really apologize.
Let me give you just small scenario. We have
Okay,
a formation of the assembly. The formation of the assembly is MP stroke MPs. Maybe there's a one constituency, there's going to be an 2 MPs. That's the reason why they say MP stroke MPs. Then we have electoral assembly member from each electoral area. Then 30% government appointees and coordinating director as a secretary to the assembly. However, we have municipal chief executive appointed by the president of the Republic of Ghana. He's the head of the entity of the assembly. Then we have coordinating director, is the secretary to the assembly, and we have presiding member, is the leader of the assembly. Any letter goes out has been written by the coordinating director on behalf of the municipal chief executive. When it comes into the General Assembly, is the presiding member who is going to sanction for the meetings. However, we have 5 statutory committees comprised, such as FNA, Security and Justice, Works, so on and so forth. Then we have other committee as well. But we have 2 committees at the Assembly. That is Public Relations and Complaints Committee and Executive Committee. The Executive Committee chaired by the Municipal Chief Executive and the Public Relations and Complaints Committee chaired by the presiding member. That's the 2 main committees we have in the Assembly. According to you, your time is up. So I don't know whether you allow me to continue so that next time we start it from there. Hello? Okay. So the statutory committees and the other committees, they have to have a meeting. So from there, they have to table what is relevant to the executive committee. For the executive committee, who is chaired by the MCE or DCE or mayor, have to table the relevant one to the General Assembly for implementation, so that the Assembly members can approve it for administration to implement it. However, we have various institutions in the Assembly. They are the technocrats. So they are the people who supported the Assembly to champion their cause, because every committee have someone who is perfect. For example, when it comes into the works committee, we have the works chairman who is supposed to be the chairman. When we come into environmental, we have Meo, who is the one who is going to chair this thing, so on and so forth. When it comes to FNA, we have finance committee who is supposed to chair, the MFO, who is supposed to chair the FNA subcommittee. So that's the procedure of the Assembly. So Assembly we have bylaws, so on and so forth, which constitutes the Assembly to perform their duties. Hello? Okay. So the Assembly members too, they have various electoral areas. They are the members of Parliament, if you compare to parliamentarians. So the presiding member is the board chairman, as I said from the beginning, and the municipal chief executive is the head of entity as a president of the municipality. Then the coordinating director is somebody like chief of staff. If anything, we have to communicate. And the presiding member is the speaker of parliament, like Abangbagui. That's how the procedure is. So Assembly is similar to Parliament. I don't know the reason why they pay parliamentarian recently. They are giving Assembly members peanut, which is very, very bad. Because if you come to our municipality or our various electoral areas, every problem, they have to call the Assembly member before God the man. So we have to sit on it and deliberate it very well for the government to take it from there. It's very, very serious. Very, very serious. Because the parliamentarian, they only go to Parliament and implement the law and pass it. But however, they were giving Range Rover, so on and so forth, by Assembly members. They have to fight for their rights. So we have to look at those things. However, in the Assembly members, they have to liaise with the chief and elders and the members of the community to know their concern, so that when it's time for General Assembly or committee, they have to table it, and for the committee to take the relevant one and push it to the executive committee to push it to General Assembly. For General Assembly to deliberate on it is the same as Parliament. We have to deliberate on it. The one which is relevant, we have to pick it and pass it to implement it for the that community to move on. So for now, there's no time. So this is what I have for you for now. If any question, so that I will come in. Welcome. Exactly. Exactly, which is very bad. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Exactly. Hmm. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Welcome, boss. Welcome. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. So I was trying to ask a question if the youth parliament has structures that show the presence of the youth parliament, and also the youth parliament, do they normally have more access to the media where their voice can be amplified? Like, I mean, our voice as youth parliament can be amplified. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Exactly. At all. Exactly. Yeah. No. Okay. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to make a small point about the local government and assemblies and parliament. First of all, look at it from this angle. The assemblies, the municipal assemblies, district assemblies, and all those things are under the executive. And so when you're discussing parliament, be careful not to, and you're discussing how parliament impacts youth programs, be careful not to mix the two. As much as the two may be interrelated at the level where the MP is relating to the assembly, for youth parliament, as is overseen by parliament, it's important to look at what the national parliament is doing and then mimic that and then see how you can get your policies and your programs migrated from your various platforms into onto the national parliament. I think it's important that you do that. But how you can get honorable member and other people in the political space to help you is that depending on what you are looking for, you may want to use your, and that's why I said, rather than going to the apex of the institution, it's best to work through your members of parliament. So, what are you looking to achieving? Are you looking to partner with the MCs, municipal assemblies? Are you looking to partner with the district assemblies? Are you looking to partner with just assemblies? Decide what you want to do, and then decide what vehicle you are using. But when you are discussing how parliament is really, or how youth groups and youth parliamentarians are relating to parliament, it's important that you keep a tunnel vision, because of the fact that we have these organizations under the executive. And Jones, you were right when you said that even in remuneration, when you look at the distribution of the Common Assembly Fund, District Assembly Common Fund, you find that what members of parliament get is minuscule compared to what the assemblies get. And that's why, programs that are, supposed to be undertaken by the members of parliament don't get undertaken. But that's a conversation for another day. I remember somebody asking a question on whether why their programs get blocked because of their political affiliations. And remember, I told you when we started this conversation that the youth parliaments that the Parliament of Ghana oversees are non-political. If there is a youth parliament that is political, is affiliated to a particular political group, then it must be clearly stated. And then what it means is that that particular youth program will have to be under that particular political program. But if it's just a youth parliament, as in a youth parliament simpliciter, then what you might want to do is to have the various shades of political opinion represented at the level of that particular youth group. So let's say it's youth impact parliaments, for instance, is a multi-party group. That's fine. But the University of Ghana Youth Parliament cannot be a multi-party group, because it's supposed to be apolitical. It's supposed to just mimic. And when I started, I told you that the emphasis of my conversation with you today is how you can get your programs and policies migrated onto the national agenda. Because all the nice ideas that you have tend to remain at your level because it's not being properly migrated onto the national agenda. And that's why, Jones, you mentioned that you have documents that still hasn't seen the light of day. And so I want our conversations to be around that. If we are talking about this assembly, we are talking about assemblies or municipal assemblies, are we looking to having our programs migrated onto them? If yes, what are the vehicles that we can use? What are the collaborative efforts that we can make? What are the groups that we can talk to? Are the honorable members the people we should talk to? Are the assembly members the people we should talk to? Let us make that clear roadmap, and then we'll know how to progress. And if it's the national parliament that you're seeking to engage, what are the vehicles that you want to use? And I've told you that look at the committees and look at the specific subject matters that you may be interested in and target these, and make sure that you are working with them. So I think basically to answer the questions, first of all, as much as possible, don't let politics affect your work. Secondly, make sure that you are using the proper channels. And thirdly, engage with the appropriate groups and ensure that everything you are doing, you are. So if it's Honorable Benjamin that you need at this particular point, approaching. If it's Honorable Zaneto, if it's Kate, whoever that you need, approach them and make sure that you are using these tools properly. So I'll pause here and then let others also have a look. The media, again, nowadays, the media has become even more easier to use than before. And so once we don't have control over, the National Parliament does not have control over individual youth groups, programs, and how they engage the media. But once we are collaborating with them, then we make sure that as much as possible, we use the appropriate media channels to ensure that their messages are being carried along. And so, for instance, when youth groups would engage with us, as you've seen, we always put them on in the media space. And so I think last week or something, we had a youth charter. This week, the National Parliament was in Cape Coast to engage with youth groups. We've engaged with the YIP. We've engaged with other groups, and we've made sure that they are always in the media space. So far as your individual groups are concerned, we don't have control over it. But once you engage the National Parliament, then you ensure that you get the visibility that you want. But let me also state that the media is a good tool, but in the wrong hands could be problematic. And so when you engage the media, be clear. What are you seeking to achieve? And I mentioned to you that for youth groups like yours, it's imperative that you push policies that will further your concerns and make sure that results are found to concerns that you bring to the fore. And so rather than engaging in conversations that will not necessarily translate into policy, my advice is that let's, as much as possible, use the media to transport our ideas on policy, on how jobs can be created for the young people, on how young people can access medical health, on how young people can access facilities, resources, things like that. I think that if we use the media positively like that, and nowadays, because of social media, electronic media, you yourselves can use the media, use electronic media to, further your own agenda by, first of all, communicating positively and making sure that you are avoiding the trolls and the trends that are not necessarily positive. And mentorship is also very important. And that's why I'm very happy that you have the two honorable members here with you, because it's important that as much as possible you get mentors in the political space. So depending on where you are leaning and what your aim is as a youth group, once you have the appropriate mentors, you'll be able to, further your cause. And that's why it's important that depending on, and again, I'm happy that Jones was engaging honorable on, the district assembly and the common fund and all those things. And, those are the things that you're interested in. Find the person who's knowledgeable there and then do it. The next time you want to talk about something else, find somebody else who knows how to do it. And then you carry on like that. But use the media positively, I'd advise. Jones? Oh dear.
Okay, my response was very simple. In my presentation, I do mention the formation of the assembly, which the member of parliament is part of the assembly. But to be honest with you, sometimes they doesn't attend general assembly meeting, where at the assembly table their grievances for implementation, which the MPs have to be there so that our concern will be taken to the parliament. Because they are using the constitution, 1992 constitution, we are using the act 936, amended 940, and legislative instrument, LI. But they are using the ISD, which is 1992 constitution, which is part. When you come into the LI and the 1992 constitution, the assembly have to determine their own emolument because it's ability to pay. But however, there is something which is more relevant, which the MPs have to come to the assembly and know our grievances, which is bothering the assembly, but nothing like that. So I will hedge that from henceforth, every municipal chief executive, together with the coordinating director and the presiding member, have to call their MPs into order or call them to dialogue. Let me use the word dialogue, so that they will come to General Assembly and know what is disturbing the Assembly for them to take it, because they are the lawmakers. They are the highest lawmakers. That's what I have to say for now. Thank you very much. Oh, as for the local government, is something normal. The local government, we have NALAC. If anything, we have to table it through NALAC for NALAC to champion our cause for us. Because the assembly is under NALAC. You see, we are under NALAC together with local government. Local government is the head, but NALAC lobby through local government. So if anything, we are going to champion it through NALAC to prompt the local government so that everything will be okay.
Mr. Speaker,
Yes, sir.
can I please add a little to what Honorable just mentioned?
Yeah.
Right. Honorable, thank you very much for the clearer explanations you've given us on local governance system.
Yeah.
I have been one-term assembly member, 2 terms unit committee chairperson. I have served on committees at assembly level, education committee and others. But then finding myself among my colleagues who I happen to be a former youth member of parliament for Tema East as well, I would want to, motivate my young ones.
Yeah.
When I was talking about the structures of the assembly, I feel that looking at our level, we should be more concerned about the basic structure of the assembly, which is the unit committee.
Exactly.
Per our act, unit committee, per the structures, unit committee are the basic structures of the assembly. Now, we are university students. You really want to venture into active politics. It is always right to start from the base. You might not be an NDC member, you might not be an NPP member, but then we always take inspiration from the likes of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, who have risen through the ranks. And I will tell you that when you rise through the ranks, you become foundation-wise, you become strong. So today, as I speak to you now, most of the members of parliament, sometimes I follow parliamentary proceedings. And when it has to do with conversations about governance at the local level, which we all know is the local government system, most of them don't have knowledge to that. In fact, even when it comes to formation of the assembly and other things, most of the members of parliament, like you mentioned, they are using the highest, the highest regulation or rules, that is the 1992 constitution. It will interest you to know that some members of parliament don't even come to the General Assembly meeting because there's a General Assembly meeting. This member of parliament is serving on a committee at parliament. Even if there's no parliamentary sitting, there's another committee meeting. He has to travel. So it is always right that even without General Assembly meetings, as members of parliament, they must have good relations with the MCs, the DCs. And with that, even in your absence, you know what the MC is doing, you know what you are supposed to do as a member of parliament. But my point is that as young people as we are, those of us that want to venture into active politics, we should always start from the unit committee level. I know most of us they want to go to parliament, while we are not even today. If some of us should be asked who is our assembly member in our electoral area, we don't know. We don't even know that when you have issues of sanitation and other things, the first point of call is the unit committee member. He will challenge. So the whole thing is like a chain of command. From the unit committee member, you're able to reach the assembly member. If it is beyond the assembly member, the heads of the various committees. Most people think that maybe if you're an assembly member, you are having issue of sanitation, the first person who goes is the MCE. No. There's a committee in charge of sanitation. One of the assembly members is heading that committee. So among your colleagues, you liaise with them even before channeling the information to the presiding member, who is more like a speaker of parliament as far as the General Assembly is meeting. So I am just here to encourage my young brothers that having had an opportunity to serve from the unit committee level today, God being so good, I've risen through the ranks. I find myself somewhere that I think I should be of a motivation to others. And then to my honorable youth members of parliament here, Madam Lilian handpicked me. I went through the process. Today, I'm not saying this to brag, but if I'm a communication officer for a whole political party in the constituency, if I was appointed as a deputy director logistics protocol for the region as far as election 2024 is concerned, for a particular political party, I want you to know that you can also rise through the ranks if you obey all the instructions and the coachings and the guidance. Sometimes you go for programs, Madam Lilian will tell you, this dressing is not good. She's not saying this for you to go and steal money and go and buy suit. When we were doing parliament, I never had any complete suit. My suit are always solo than solo. I pick them from Katamanto. I iron them nicely, and I'm good to go. It is not about dressing. It is not about having coat of arms, crutches, or whatever it is. It is about what you are coming to learn. Today, I learned those procedures. In fact, my member of parliament can appoint me, Henry, go and represent me at this very program. I do it with all diligence. God being so good, I did my national service to Ghana Ports and Harbors Authority. Currently, I am a marketing supervisor. I am the PA to the corporate communications manager. I'm not saying this for you to think that, I mean, he has gotten it all. I want you to know that when you learn well, you get there. I also want to add by saying that any of you that would want the opportunity for internships, for national service opportunities, some of us got to where you are before we've gotten to where we are now. We are ready. We are ready to coach some of you, are ready to push some of you, and we'll get it. But as far as politics is concerned, the propounders, those that the 1988 the Ahoys that brought that best local governance system, they know the role it will play. Boss was mentioning NALAG, NALAG, NALAG. I don't know how many of us know what NALAG means, but NALAG basically it's an abbreviation of National Association of Local Authorities, an assembly where presiding members meet, they dialogue on national issues at the local level, they channel it through the appropriate bodies, and it is done. So we shouldn't blame the members of parliament for not coming to assembly. They must have their relatives, and then we must also make sure that everything that concerns our local assemblies, the unit committee, when there's an opportunity for unit committee elections, announce yourself. You can also do the flyer, post yourself, go and campaign, become a unit committee member. Then we rise through the ranks. With that being said, 8 years from now, if you shoot somebody, you should see somebody representing Temais constituency with the name Okoninku Henry. I want you to know that that is the funny, that is the the ladder we are climbing, and then we will get there. So once again, thank you very much, my honorable members of parliament. You are welcome to this very thing. When I learn. I remember our very first meeting we had, Excellency Lilian, Madam Sally Addo at DFN Auditorium, Job 600. I remember that day very well. And that very moment where I found myself, the committee room I found myself, shaped my thinking. Today, I work as a PA, I work as a this, I work as a that, and we are good to go. So thank you very much, my bosses. Just wanted to add
Welcome,
a little. Thank you all.
welcome, welcome.
Bravo! Great,
Bravo,
great, great,
bravo,
great,
bravo,
great, great,
bravo, bravo,
great.
bravo. Well said, well said.
Yes. Please, what did you say? I didn't hear you well. I'm very impressed. I'm very happy. I'm very glad and grateful. And I'm impressed because me, I'm in Paris. And when I see what you guys are doing and how you things are changing in Ghana, I'm very, 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 very proud to be a Ghanaian. And please, please, all people, all members in this platform, continue to do the good and great and marvelous job. We will get there. We will get there. Sorry for my English because me, as you all know, I'm speaking only French. Oh. Donc, merci beaucoup. Bravo, bravo, bravo à tout le monde. Bravo, bravo. Well done. Well done. I'm very impressed and happy to be part of you guys. Thank you so much, Honorable, to let me speak. Thank you so much.
Welcome, welcome.
Yes, Abdullah Jata. Yes, Abdullah. Greetings, members. First of all, I thank God and I thank my reference for adding me to this page. Um, I am really impressed with the movement, more especially the young minds from Ghana. I believe Ghana is one of the golden center for molding young people across the region. Here in Cyprus, two-thirds of my friends are Ghanaians. I learn a lot from them, both academical knowledge, politically, and citizenry. I learned this from them. They had Ghana in their heart, not in their mouth. So that made me believe that Ghana must be a center to open the young minds in Africa. However, I have a question that I wanted to ask. I sent it to the page, but I can read it as well. As a young Gambian who is passionate with youth network, what are the most easiest way to involve the youth into peaceful negotiation, most especially during peaceful protests? Thank you.
Hello. Okay. I was informed that it's my turn. Right now, I'm at the wedding reception. I'm going to give the grocery remarks. So I was informed by Madam Lilian. So I step aside and come and make the contribution. But right now, I have to proceed because I'm the chairman for the occasion. So I have to give my grocery remarks. Okay. I want to thank the audience for giving me the opportunity because learning is procedures. I want to urge the one who just contribute as a youth uh, member of youth in parliament, one-term unit committee, one-term assembly member. He spoke well. It's good for us to have such a debate so that we advise ourselves and look the way forward. That's what I have for now. Thank you very much. Thank you. Welcome. Bye.
I am actually here. I'm here. And I would like to tell you that when I mentioned that it's important that, first of all, we map out our road and decide what we're doing and then follow through with what we're doing. This is what I meant. And so I from the conversations that have ensued so far, I can see that there's a trajectory that is heading towards the assemblies. There's a trajectory that's heading towards parliament. There's a trajectory that's heading towards politics. And there's nothing wrong with politics. So those of you who want to do politics, it's important that you have the mentors. And the gentleman that spoke from Tema mentioned that he went through the ranks and he was mentored. And thankfully, he's now a communicator for a whole region and he's doing so well. So decide what you want to do and then focus on that and then chart that path. In terms of how to engage the youth on policies, there are various channels. One of the channels is by written conversations, and that's why some of you write to the either the honorable members or to the assemblies or to the right honorable speaker. Now, the other way to do that is also to engage the committees or assemblies on a face-to-face or on their social media handles. And so for peaceful protests, there are regulations, the standing orders of parliament, and not just in Ghana, but in the various national parliaments, have provisions for peaceful negotiations. There's also the constitutional provisions. The 1992 Constitution makes provision for that, I think chapter 12 or something, I'm not too sure, or 10. So you want to find out which policy fits into it. And then also you can engage with either the executive or the legislature and have your concerns articulated. And I keep using my son as an example, and it's strange that my son has found his way into my family. Jones is my son. So Jones, for instance, he knows how to use the tool. So when he documents, when he does something, he makes sure that Parliament, the national Parliament, is aware of it. And that helps. So I'll suggest to you that build contacts with the political mentors that you have, with the assemblies, with members of parliament, and depending on where and there's nothing wrong with being politically inclined and wanting to be a member of parliament or going for it. But my advice to you is that at this level, at the youth groups, it's best if you're working as a holistic group, because it helps you to grow faster and it helps you to access help, whether it's on the left or the right or the center. So I think that I will leave you with that, if it's okay.
Thank you. Okay, I interrupt
Hello.
again. This is Lilian. Is you have Honorable Alexander Ejari on? Honorable Alexander Ejari, MP for Kede constituency. Okay, then please, you have the floor. Go ahead.
All right, thanks so much. Once again, my name is Osadefo, and I'm glad and grateful to be here this evening. I want to first thank Her Excellency Dr. Lilian Addo, and then all the country has, and then our wonderful guests who have brought us this wonderful information for a better tomorrow and for the path that we want to pave at last. Well, I think the earlier question was what youth governance is and how the youth can engage in it for a better tomorrow. You know, one thing is that every nation, the development of every nation depends on its young ones. And then the world, even at large, depends on its young ones. And then every generation needs to be nurtured so that the future can produce better results than it is today. And governance is one of those processes or training processes that the youth are taken through. And so as youths, we are mostly called the raw materials of tomorrow. And International Youth Network is one of the avenues to which we can learn and better ourselves for tomorrow. In view of that, you know, one thing I've realized engaging in youth development and other stuff is that we have the passion and then we always want to do something. But sometimes I feel we start on the wrong note and also don't want to learn. So I think our dear Honorable Henry made a very profound statement on mentorship and so on. I will acknowledge us all to be ready to be mentored, for the world depends on us tomorrow. And again, somebody spoke about the fact that the nation at large has been divided into political parties and so on. I believe if that change will come, it depends on us. It depends on the path that we'll go today. It depends on how we see tomorrow. Today and the kind of knowledge that we imbibe today, that partisan nature of our way of life of Ghanaians particularly will change. And so what are we learning? Are we ready to be nurtured by the neutral people who knows what it takes, like these wonderful guests and our leaders who have been here to train us? Okay, are we being disciplined ourselves? Do we know what we want for tomorrow? Are we just following because we want the fame, or we are following because we really want to change tomorrow? And again, the tomorrow that we want, I want to let us know that has already started and there's no tomorrow anywhere. But how we live today determines the tomorrow that we will make. Going forward, I want to touch on leadership at large, and these are how our dear global president said. You see, if you cannot be nurtured or you cannot be trained, you cannot reign. And then in most instances, we feel the leaders are the problem, and then they are trying to hinder our progress. But every generation, leaders want to be sure that those that they are leaving their offices to can take care of the tomorrow or can do the work as expected. And again, leaders by nature, if you permit me to say, have some level of ego here and there. But at times, I believe the young ones take it from the competitive way and not where we want to learn and then take charge when there is time for us to take charge. Hello, please, can you hear me? All right. I think I'll end here for now. So thank you so much.
Yes, please. Please, when is the mentorship starting?
Before you speak, sorry to stop you.
Okay.
Hold on.
Okay.
I'm going to get into a noisy place, so I want to ask permission. This is Lilian, Nova President. For everybody to say, I really appreciate your time. But as soon as we finish this, I want as many of you to share. We are going to share the link for the Google link for the application to be part of the youth government system. I want all of you to share the links in your communities, your campuses, your classrooms, your churches. We want as many youth as possible. Okay? As many youth as possible apply to be part of the youth government system. Even all that we are going to have these people plus many more to come and be speaking to us, guiding us. And for those of you who really think that the youth government system is not for you, but the other department that you can volunteer, all this is to bring all of us together to be part of the decision-making table, to mentor you, to push you into that space. Okay? So in that many people, we are going to share a lot of links. And listen, the National Youth Network, I'm telling you, we don't charge any youth to be a member. It's free. Be part of the youth government, it's free. No registration fee, no dues, no nothing. Pick the form, fill it, and be part of this. Okay? This year we have a lot of opportunities, we have a lot of trainings, and the good news is that we have our training institution, that is the International Training Center for Diplomacy, Peace and Security. I've been hinted that they are going to release some scholarship solely for the youth government system members. So if you are part of the youth government system, either you are a youth minister, youth MP, youth assemblyman, youth municipal, the DC, UMC, wherever you belong, from the top, justice, president, there's going to be a lot of scholarship for our youth governments. And when that time comes, I want all of you to take the opportunity. And we have another good news. We have an AI specialist who wants to teach in that school. Members of the International Network are not going to pay anything. Going to learn introduction to AI. Now that's where we are. So it's important for me that all of you know these tools. Recently Jones designed something. I'm like, what is this? And he said AI. I said, hey. So all of you must know these things. And then I have another good news. We have a lecturer from the International School of Diplomacy saying that, Madam, for your youth who are active, I would like to teach them certification courses on cybersecurity. Some of you, like I said, some of the youth are confused, but all the things that are trending now are very important. You must know these things. Sometimes you get a job and they tell you, oh, I have 10 years experience, 5 years experience, and you are using Excel, the old school. But then they will tell you how to know these modern tools. We have lectures at the International Youth Network Training Center. That's where we do our trainings. Once you're a member of the network, not only the youth governments, these scholarships are going to come, and I want you to take advantage. Sometimes you take these certification courses, it's basic, it's cool, but it's an eye opener for you to grow on it. As we are pushing you to be on the decision making team, we want you to also to be current, to be updated. So share the links, like Alpha will say, and invite many more people to join the network. Okay, so I'll hand over to you guys. I might be on and off. And then when we finish, our first deputy country head, Oko, I'm very proud of him. He's going to address you to give you the closing remarks. And as the country head for Ghana, he's going to address you. Maybe you talk about the agenda or whatever they will say. So God bless you for staying on. And to all our chaplains and everybody who joined, and our Islamic missions team, our Christian missions, all of you, I say God bless you. And I'll get in touch again. I'm on standby anyway. So please continue with what you're doing.
I'm asking that when will the mentorship training start? Yes, please. Please, I have another question. Yeah. The International Training Center for Peace and Security, is it in Ghana here?
Sir, before you go to Stephen, may I ask, please? Yes, like me at a distance in North Cyprus, if I wanted to benefit from any training, what would be the mechanism for me to get access to those training programs and stuff? Yeah, my local, like for example, I'm not in Gambia. I'm in abroad for studies. But like I've been go yeah, I come across with a lot of training programs, but then it is always in physical ground. So me at a distance, if I want to benefit from such knowledge, what are the means for me? Thank you. Right now, I'm in the North Cyprus. Yes, I am in the North Cyprus. Thank you so much for the feedback. But then we are working on it, but we find it very difficult to have such. Then though we were in touch with Nene Lilian, and then we are making sure that we fix all the possible ways for them for us to have a representative around.
Thank you for the opportunity. I am Stephen Gata from Mando Municipality under the youth governance system, but it has a link as far as youth leadership is concerned. I want to know the current level as far as the Voter Youth Fee Scholarship issues are concerned. Thank you. The Voter Youth Fees. Yes. I think I already acknowledged that aspect earlier before I presented my question. I think I may be spared for the answer to maybe. Yes, please. Yes, please. I'm okay. Thank you for the answer.
Right, thank you very much, Honorable, Right Honorable Speaker, and then every member on this very meeting. On behalf of my boss, who is the country head, and then on behalf of the Global President, Her Excellency Lilian Sally Addo, and every resource person that has shared some insights with us, I want to single handedly say a very big thank you to each and every one of them, and also to our new members as far as United Nations Youth Association Ghana is concerned, whether the chaplaincy, the traditional campus based organizations. I just want to say a very big thank you to all of you. One thing I want you to know is that whatever we are doing today will yield results in the coming future. In my earlier presentation, I mentioned that probably about some 9 years ago, we had similar meeting, in-person meeting at the Justice Annan Auditorium in Parliament. That was the very day I was inspired. And I said to myself that yes, I want to be a member of parliament and I know definitely it will come to reality. Today, as I speak to you now, the only thing I need now, as far as my constituency is concerned, to go to parliament is money. Why do I say the only thing I need now? Because I have built a formidable foundation. You come to them, I just mentioned future MP, those of you that might be familiar with this TikTok and other social media handles. Just mention future MP and then you will know what I'm talking about. I'm saying this because I want you all to know that this is actually a stepping stone. This is actually a place where we can all build and then get to wherever we want to be. I mentioned all those positions I'm heading now, not because I want you to feel that I have so much on my table, but then I want you to know that when we begin from somewhere, we will get there. I know most of you are good with parliamentary proceedings. I know most of us. Hey, who is this? Yes, sir. So all I want to say is that let's all come out together and let's keep learning. In fact, I read something from PLO Lumumba. He said that he was mentored by people he has not seen before. I don't know how many of you have actually listened to that voice note. He said he was mentored by people he has not seen before. Right Honorable Speaker was mentioning about people that you have to identify who you want them to be mentors. Most of the time, they are social media handles. I'm an NDC person. I'm a consultancy communication officer. I am a deputy director logistics region and others. But there are some key people in the new patriotic party that I always look up to. If I have a show and my boss Sami Jemfi is on TV and the likes of Honorable Kojo Nkrumah and Kwa on other channels, I would switch and watch Honorable Kojo Nkrumah. If I have the likes of Honorable Sami Wuku and Kwa on other channels, I would switch and watch them because whatever my boss Sami Jemfi, Malik Basintali and Akogan and them are saying, I am familiar with it. I am familiar with those ideologies. I would want to compare and contrast. I'm saying this because I want you to know that the line of duty we want to do now has nothing to do with whether the NDC or the MPP. It's about building yourself. Look at Honorable Eric Edemagana. He was once like us as a student leader. Today he's a member of parliament for a whole constituency. He's serving on several committees. He's representing the nation at several places. When we get the opportunity and we do it well, we will also get there. I want you to know that through United Nations Youth Association, I've been able to travel to 4 different countries. God being so good. This very month, May, no, April, I'm going to China for same program. So when the opportunities comes and you avail yourself, you'll be given the nod to do it. And also most of us are students. As far as national service and internships and preparation processes are concerned, some of us will be on standby, especially those of you that are within the data acquire region and Tema to be precise. Let's link up through the Speaker of Parliament. Let's link up. I am with the Ghana Ports and Harbors Authority. I know most of you would want to come join me there. When the opportunity presents itself for internships or national service opportunities, don't hesitate to get in touch with the speaker. We'll reach out and we get in touch and do it better. Those of us outside the country, like the Right Honorable Speaker mentioned, it is not always about in person before you get what you want. Most of the mentorship programs that we are doing has nothing to do with meeting at a particular place. The world is developing. Somebody is in Cyprus, somebody is in Gambia, somebody is in Zimbabwe, and they are all part of us. I had an opportunity to join the other UN, United Nations Association groups, that is the Zimbabwean group, and then sometimes when they are doing their programs, I join. You understand? So that is all I want to say on behalf of the entire head body and the global president and every leader of this very organization. I want to say a very big thank you to you all. 9 years ago, I was inspired, and today it is taking me places. I know even if you're also inspired today, 4 or 5 years to come, you would also stand somewhere and say that what Henry said, what Madam Lilian Sally said, what Madam Kate Addo said, what the members of parliament said has pushed me further. My name is Henry Oko Uninku. I am popularly known as Future MP on all social media handles. You can follow, let's get in touch, and we are good to go. Thank you very much, my honorable members, and then everybody on the platform. Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
I've seen it before. I've seen it before.
Me, I want his number.
Yeah, yeah, me
Yes,
too.
please.
Me, I'll be going to his
He spoke
Honorable,
about
so I am one person. I am one person that my social media handles are always active. So I might not be able to mention the number here, but as soon as you come to my DM, Future MP, United Nations, you just mention United Nations. I know you are my member, you are my mentee. I'll give you the number. We'll link up from there. Mm.
Me,
All
I'll be
right,
going.
thank you.
Me, I'll be coming to your.
I've
I'll
seen
be
you
coming to
before,
your
like
office
you
on
share the
Monday.
experience with us. Yeah, I want to. Yeah, yeah, I am. Okay, so our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this evening. We thank you for an intensive session of which we've learned a lot from our honorables and many more, and those who are expecting to be honorables in the future. We pray and say that everything we've learned today, may it all be to our help, and may our expectations be fulfilled. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
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 Amen. Thank you, Honorable. Bye,
Thank
For
guys.
the
you.
minority
Au
talk of the
revoir.
day,
Au
thank you to
revoir.
everyone.
Au revoir.
Bye. Oh, ya kami to. Ano na na,